What's going on, everybody? Sean with Hydrasylum Comics here. I know it's been a while since I've been around, but today I decided to bring back a review of one of my favorite books of all time called God Country. We've had a lot of new subscribers since I put this video out, so for all the new folks to the channel, check it out. Let me know what you think.
Hydrasylum.
What's going on, guys? Sean from Triangle of Truth here with my rapid review for the week. I cannot even begin to tell you enough good things about this comic. This is my favorite read of all time so far. I've had a few that come close, but this one still is the story that sticks in my head. It is God Country from Image Comics. It was a one-shot 6-issue run that they did a few years back. One that I really wish that they could have continued, and they probably could have if they had chose to, but they did a good job at least giving you an ending that you can walk away from. The story itself centers around a small town Texas family, the Quinlans, and specifically Roy and his father Emmett. When the story begins, you find out that Emmett has Alzheimer's, so he has a hard time remembering people, especially his family, his granddaughter, and he also has violent outbursts, which is kind of how the story begins. He has one of those, and the family is actually thinking about having to try and relocate him. So, in the middle of the night, here in the first issue or so, there is a tornado that comes through and just ransacks the entire town. Unbeknownst to everybody at first, this actually was not a tornado. What this was a god had created a portal that basically was like a tornado and this sword, this 10-foot long sword came through it, and the sword has a name. It is Valifax, and it talks. The cool thing that they did with it too is that they didn't just make it a very, monotone, boring kind of sword. The sword actually has quite a bit of personality, at least the way I interpret it, and it was really cool. Emmett ends up finding this sword as it deems him kind of a worthy wielder, and while he's in contact with the sword, Emmett's Alzheimer is cured. He remembers everybody. He is very gentle in nature, very loving. You see beautiful moments with the family, with his granddaughter and everything. But the god that sent it, whose name is Autumn, wants it back. Understandably. So he sends his son, who is, when you see him, he's this giant figure. Emmett's like this big. Here's the son. Giant figure to try and get it back. And the only way to actually get the sword from Emmett is either if Emmett wills the sword back to the owner, or if the sword itself wills it back. You cannot kill Emmett and get the sword back, as he remains attached to it for all of eternity. Well, while the son was unsuccessful in doing this, it ends up being to where Emmett has to go back to the universe or dimension that Autumn, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, is from, to talk to him directly. And in doing so, Emmett learns that Autumn has no plans of actually being peaceful. Once he gets the sword back, he plans to kill Emmett, his family, everything he loves. So it ends up becoming a fight for life and death, one in which, unfortunately, Emmett does lose, but not before Autumn's son, who is actually a very peaceful being in his own right, brings Roy to come see Emmett. And there's a surprise that I will not reveal because I really want you to read that moment for yourself, because it is truly a touching one. It gets you right here in the feels. And they ended, kind of on that after Emmett has defeated Autumn and whatnot. The artwork, for me, this was one of those where, at the time when I was reading, I was very into your Jim Lee's Clayton Cranes, of course, Alex Ross, some of your big names that you know, and how they drew characters, which were pretty high detail, very much look like, your human or your big superheroes. This was a broader stroke in a sense, and very different on colors than I'm used to seeing. So I decided to kind of take a leap of faith because when I read the synopsis, it just sounded almost too good to pass up. And I was right. So I think for some folks who maybe want to branch out and try something that is a little different in comics from what you normally might read, this is a great one shot series to check out. Just a truly great original story and really great just artwork. I mean, since reading it, it has really opened me up to pick up more books that are different from what I would normally, what I'm really attracted to when it comes to reading. And and I think that's what comics are all about in a sense, is you want to discover new things all the time. And given how much material that there is, I can tell you that you will never stop being surprised by something that you pick up. So I encourage you guys, check it out. If you have checked it out, let me know in the comments whether you liked it or not, or your pros and cons. Because I always want to know what you guys think. That's why we do what we do. And that's all I got for this week, guys. So catch you next time. Later.
Well, that was definitely a trip down memory lane for me. I still love that comic so much to this day. Leave a comment down below. I want to know what some of your favorite reads of all time have been so far, because maybe it's something I haven't heard of, and you know me, I definitely want to check out all the good stuff, especially recommendations from some of our subscribers. With that said, I'm going to get out of your hair. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you later.